Okay. All right. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. So, hey, everybody, it's your girl, Wisdom. God sat me down and showed me a few things that were just mind boggling, just how he has been Miyagiing me. When I say Miyagiing, I'm talking about how, the Karate Kid like was put in all these different situations so they'll, know how to do a certain thing, but not even know that they know how to do it. That's what I'm trying to say that God has been doing. Okay. So remember, I told you all that some time ago, God had made me start studying exorcist, not exorcisms, exorcist. That was very important, distinguish for what he told me to do. It was like, no, I don't want you to study the exorcism. I want you to study the exorcist. Ooh. So this is about to be a heavy video, okay? Because what I learned is that a lot of the exorcists are, how do I put this? I don't know how to say it. Like well, one of them in particular, I saw lied exact for something I knew was true. He flat out said that demons cannot read your mind, and that is a lie. And with proof, how can an alien read your mind? But you're telling me aliens are lukewarm demons, okay? That's the dulled down version of a demon, okay? But they can read your mind and talk with you telepathically. Here we go. The government has something like Project Bluebeam where they can talk inside your mind, or better yet, maybe even the 5G weapon. You know what I'm saying? They can talk into your mind, and you're trying to really want me to believe, which I know some of the thoughts that come up are just obviously not of me or God. Like I wasn't even thinking of nothing about that. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, that was one of the things that God told me or showed me that, wow, just like that lady who said about, there was this lady and she was praying and she was Catholic and she was saying how, all of the governments are in on it and they all know. It was definitely that moment for me because it's like, come on now, how sometimes they go too, I can't think of another way to say this. I was about to say too dumb. But sometimes they do, sometimes it's like, how you expect me to believe that, and take a look, and I know all this is possible. Just because something is possible means that it's possible. You get that it all the person has to do is learn in order to be able to do it themselves. You get what I'm saying? So it's just crazy that they said that, and that was part of why God said I had to, one, learn about what they're saying, and two, tell you what I've learned on a real minute by minute basis. Okay, so this is not full yet. I'm still going through the process of learning these things. Okay. So I don't want you to take this list that I'm about to give you and think that it's like the full parameters of the moves the devil can make. I'm not saying that. I'm letting you know everything that I'm telling you has been proven in some way, shape, or form to where I feel comfortable letting you know about it. Okay. So I got my list. All right. Well, let's see. How should I do this? Should I start off with the okay, so this is what God showed me. That I'll read, praise God. Everything that I'm saying is in the Bible. So I'll read something to you first, and you will see what I'm talking about. Go to Job 1. Job chapter 1, verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. And the Lord said to Satan, "From where do you come?" So Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking back and forth on it." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and shuns evil?" So Satan answered the Lord and said, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not made a hedge around him, around his household, and around all that he has on every side? You have blessed the works of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But now stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." And the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, all that he has in your power, only do not lay a hand on his person." So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. Okay. So this is what you got to know, is that this really is a galactic war or game, or I want to say game, more like a game, okay? But it's more also like a war, because the devil really is trying to take the people as possessions. That's what covet is. Covet is a deep, like, go look it up for yourself, go look at the definition. But it's a deep yearning, a desire for something that belongs to someone else. Okay. So that is the name of the beast. It is covet. Okay. So a long time ago, God gave me a list of parameters. This really was a game. He gave me rules, uh, commandments, and rights, rules, commandments, and rights. And I have gave you guys these, like, back in a later video where it says God read me my rights, but I'm going to give them to you now, because I also saw when I went back in my videos, because there's so many videos, but when I went back in the videos, I saw that they had turned off some of my videos. They're not even live, right? So I'm gonna have to comb through and go through all that. But here's also the cool thing. I noticed that it was 10 commandments, 4 rights, and 4 rules, right? So 144,000, that messed me up. I didn't notice that back then. Go back and look. It was a long time ago. I was back living in South Euclid, but it was 144, right? So let me give you the parameters. Like, let's say that this is a game and we're sitting there reading the instructions before we play the game. Here's the instructions, okay? Remember, I told you the 10 commandments. God said it ain't about trying to control you or to make you do a certain thing. No, there's a galactic, there is a spiritual, there is a multi-dimensional atmosphere. Okay. And God said these 10 commandments are what kind of mark you to keep you safe up under his wing. Like, so if you picture him going like this through all this wild, wild west atmosphere out there, right? We're the little I don't know, we're something little that is staying up under his arms. And the way we stay up under his arms are through those 10 commandments. Okay. So that's important to know. Those 10 commandments was not just to control you. That had nothing to do with it. It was to make sure that you were covered when the atmosphere is broke back and you see that Dracula's real and dragons and you know what I mean? There's a real Thor, there's real demons, not these lukewarm aliens they're trying to push. You know what I mean? There's real scary things that bump in the dark. So the 10 commandments is what keep us under God's wing. Okay. So it was 4 rules, right? So you may mess up a 10 commandment, but I'm telling you, don't do it, because some of them have very heavy penalties, such as death. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not telling you don't do, I'm just saying they don't knock you from him. You get what I'm saying? But these the 4 rules do. Go look in Acts chapter 15, verse 20. Or I might have said it backwards. I'm not exactly sure. It's one or the other. It's either 20:15 or 15:20. But it's the 4 abominations of God. Okay. And the first one was, I remember these by heart. It was, don't commit any rituals related to blood. So I hope you got pen and paper. Write these down, because if this was a game, these are your, like, if we're playing chess, you know how the knight can make a certain move. Well, these are the moves you're able to make, if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying, through this game called life, right? So one of them was the of the 4 rules, right, is no rituals related to blood. No rituals related to blood. Make sure you write that down. That is vaccines, things like that. It's sex, right? That is a ritual related to blood. Sacrificings, things like that. Rituals. You know what? If you know a little bit about the cult, a lot of it is rituals related to blood. Okay. No Eucharist. God said no to that too in the Bible, but people don't adhere to it because the church said you should take communion. Well, God said you shouldn't do those kinds of things. That is a ritual related to blood. That's what he said. Hey, and it's in the Bible, so don't get mad at the messenger, right? He said that was the big problem with this generation, is they get mad at the mouth of the prophet. But all of everything that I say to you is going to be in here. Like, even if I ain't found it and you got to go find it, it's going to be in here. Okay, so no rituals related to blood. Uh, don't do any revenge. It was nothing strangled, right? So that was murder through revengeful strangulation. Um, do not partake in idols polluted by other gods, right? Anything that you give more than its weight to is an idol. Anything. So the cross is an idol. The ankh is an idol. The googly eyes that they say warts off evil, that's an idol. Uh, uh, Politicians and things, and money, people related to money, those could be idols. So you really do got to scan your environment for what are you idolizing. Okay. um that's deep. Okay, can I say a little bit about that, Father? Me and him spoke about this because remember this painting that I had did a long time ago, and God told me that it was him. Now, mind you, I had no clue that it was him, but he literally said, if there was a way to explain what he looks like for real, then this would be it, right? I'm gonna show it to y'all. Oh, but I like this blew my mind, right? Hold on 1 second. Y'all remember when I did that painting? He said if there was any way to explain, what he would look like, it would be that, which is I don't know how to explain what it is, but um why am I telling you about that? Oh, idols. Okay, that's why. Because when he told me that's him, like that would be the depiction, this beautiful uh, color. I can't even explain it. It's just, it's the light. It's beautiful color, right? I wanted to sit and stare at that after he said it. Was like, wow, now I see, like if the angel's got a whole bunch of eyes on him, he's literally the essence of all seeing. They not all seeing eye, y'all. Don't go with what they've adulterated. But he is the essence of truth, the manifestation of all matter and color. Like it would make sense. So I sat there staring at it, like, oh wow, like aren't you beautiful, right? And then while I'm doing this, now God Himself told me that this was how He looks, right? He then says, you better watch out, you're going to create an idol. And then I had to, not put as much significance on it. So I'm letting you know that there is no earthly image that represents God. So anything that is given more value than being an earthly image is not of God. Like you can't idolize it as God, because when a thing comes, when something's manifest, right, like that painting, it comes with a whole backstory of serendipity that may not be like your story of like you give what I'm saying, may not be the reality God is giving you to get you to the place you need to go. But if you start idolizing it, then next thing you know, that becomes the all-seeing eye, and you done put it on the top of a dollar bill inside of a containment field. You know what I mean? Like they've done, right? Uh so no idols. That's it. It said don't ascribe to idols polluted by other gods. So let's make sure we got all those, make sure we got all four. So no idols, no rituals related to blood, nothing strangled. And what was the, so we got to look it up because I did forget the fourth one. Hold on. It's Acts, I believe, chapter 15 verse 20, but I'm not exactly sure. Okay, but it says here, I'll read to you what it says, and this is how I know. We'll go back to verse 18. Known to God from eternity are all His works. Therefore, I judge that you should not trouble those from among you of the Gentiles who are turning to God. So there's like 300, no, 600 and something laws, right? So these people are coming from being a, like a Gentile to believing that God could really be there for them in their soul, right? So it says, but that we write to them to abstain from things polluted by idols, okay, from sexual immorality or oh, that was the one, sexual immorality. But I also told you guys that rituals related to blood is a sex ritual. I mean, sex is a ritual related to blood. So know that that's what it said, sexual immorality. But I also been finding out why God is so, no, like it is deeper than sex. You get what I'm saying? Like when two become one in holy matrimony, the land is actually connected to that, or their possessions, or I don't know how to explain it except for to say the land is connected to that. So any deviation of that covenant is a sexual immorality, but it destroys the land. You give it, or all the fruitfulness. You get what I'm saying? And then there's fornication, right? Which is, but it's the same thing, same consequence, but of death and misfortune, but it's not connected to the land. It seems to be a sin on your own body. You get what I'm saying? So not a sin for all that comes from it, but on your own body is what fornication seems to be. So I've been really learning these things because it's just important to understand what the rules are, what really, if this is something cosmic, there we go. If this is something cosmic, that means its rules are different than what, or there's rules out there that we haven't paid attention to. Okay. So those were the four abominations of God. Um, but God also said we had four rights. Okay. What was our four rights? Our four rights are we have the right to choose what God we serve. Like if this was a chessboard and if we were the knight, now I ain't saying that your rights don't get you ate up in the game sometimes, right? Because sometimes if you don't pick the right choice or use the right, I don't want you to think that I'm saying God is going to be for you if you make one of these moves. I just need you to know that these are the moves you are, without a shadow of a doubt, unalienable rights. These are the rights of how you can move, right? So the first one is you have the right to choose what God you serve. That's, you have that right. Okay. The next one is you have the right to choose how you play the game, like how you're going to be, your disposition. You know what I mean? When God showed me that, when he told me about a woman during the Holocaust, where this is the Holocaust, literally being starved to death, right? And how she put on this lipstick every single day, just to preserve a piece of her freedom, and it made no sense to anyone else, but it made sense to her, but that was her right to choose how she would play the game, whereas another one might, depending on how their heart is, try to hurt somebody or do something else. Okay, so that's important to know. So that second one is different from the first one, because one is saying you got the right to choose what God you serve or lack thereof. The next one is you have the right to choose your disposition, like how you're going to play the game, your characteristics. You know what I mean? Like, do you get the blue one or the yellow piece? Okay, that's what you get to choose. Um, what's the third one? You have the right to be an individual, right? So if everyone toddles off of a cliff, you don't have to go off the cliff, because that's one of your rights. You have a right to be an individual. If everybody get the shot and you don't want it, you have that right. That's an unalienable right to take. You can't take that right from me. You have that right. You get what I'm saying? So you do have the right not to go with the crowd if you don't want to. You got the right to go with the crowd, but you also got the right not to. Okay. And the last one is you have the right to benefit yourself. Okay. Now, like, that's the one where I'm letting you know Peter benefited himself. Only God knows what the judgment will be for such right, but you do have that right. Okay. It is something you can do, right? As it relates to a move on a chess game. Okay. So those are our rights as the incarnate, those that are in a vessel, right, that are here on earth, right? So those are our rights as it relates to playing the game of life, okay? But like I said, now let's get back to I had to give y'all that backstory in order to get back to what all this was about. Like how I put in the chat, today we are going to uncover the rights of the devil, okay? I know, deep. It gives me such but like I said, God showed me by studying The Exorcist, not exorcisms, the actual profession of being an exorcist. God showed me that one, some of those exorcists are lying. They are flat out lying. And he gave me proof of it. Like one of the leading top exorcists in all of the world, right? He said that the adversary, remember, we don't call them enemies, right? The adversary cannot read your mind, and that is not true. They can. What they can't read is the integrity of your heart. They could totally read your mind and plant thoughts in your mind, But what they can't read is the integrity of your heart. And that's what seems to be the deciding factor. All right. So let me I have a long list. So let's start at the first one. Okay. Oh, that is the first one. Okay. So they can read and implant thoughts. So this, if the devil can make moves and you're playing against your adversary, these are important for you to know if you're going to make it through the gauntlet after the catastrophe. Honestly, there's a catastrophe coming, and God said they're not going to move right now until they see him, doing what he got to do until it's harvest time. But a lot of them are going to be led to different Goshens, and I'm doing everything in my power to keep this a Goshen, right? So he said they're going to be led, but the only way they're going to make it through is they got to know, like, y'all remember back in the beginning, back before, way before this was even a thought on the radar. Um, I felt like in my dreams, God was taking me to these strategy meetings. Do y'all remember this? It was all my dreams. I was at a round table and it felt like we were doing, like, we were talking over the plan. And, God was showing me it was for a time such as this, for this moment, to give you guys the truth. It's literally like that movie, Alien versus Predator, how you have to give the Predator back his weapon so that he could fight off the aliens. Well, that's kind of what God was telling me I had to do today. Okay. So that the first one is true. Okay. I'm letting you know that the adversary can read and implant thoughts in your mind, but he cannot read the integrity of your heart, that you got the right to choose to benefit yourself part. He don't know if you're going to benefit yourself by following him or following God. You get what I'm saying? So that's where he's scattered at, but he can read an implant. Okay. um he has to corrupt you in your dreams. So this number two, he can corrupt your dreams. You get what I'm saying? He has to, it's like he almost has to do a trial run in your dreams, right? Those that follow God have that as premonitions, prophecy dreams, but a lot of times they don't know how to interpret the dream to know what was the warning. You get what I'm saying? Meaning there was something the devil did in there to try to corrupt something. He can do that, right? So that's important to know. I've seen it. It's happened to me where literally something that looked like it was foretelling the future. And if I was able to be corrupted that way in my dream, or however, when it came out in real life, that it was like either a stop sign or oh, it already happened. You get what I'm saying, kind of thing. So there seems to be a way that the adversary can interact with you in your dreams. Okay. So I'm just giving you his, the moves he's able to make. Okay. So I'm not telling you that he can control you through your, no, I'm not telling you any of that. I'm saying that he can implant himself in your dreams to corrupt you in your dreams. Okay, so you have to have strong integrity even in your dreams, or he's gonna try to pull that to real life. I'm being honest. Okay. um that he can see the future but not in detail. The adversary can see the future but not in detail. Okay. It's things like he may see, in however they're seeing these things, he may see just like when you have a dream and things represent something to you, that's how he sees. You get what I'm saying? That's how the adversary sees. So it might be the grimace. It might be in our reality, it might be the grimace. It might be, those spirals might be eclipse. It might be, it's symbolic. You get what I'm saying? So he can't see the details of the future, but he can strategize using what he's seen. You get what I'm saying? The vision gets clearer for him the more people that are corrupted. By the way, That is the number one goal of the adversary. So that's checkmate, right? When he corrupts innocence, that's checkmate. That's the reason why I'm like, you got on a swimsuit. You can't come in this video. Or that's the reason why that's our goal as children of God, is to protect innocence at all costs, because the adversary is lurking to destroy innocence at all costs. So know that that's checkmate if he corrupts innocence, okay? But the more people that he corrupts and the more innocence that he corrupts, the clearer he can see the future. Real talk, it's the truth. Uh, and he needs, okay, so I don't know which number this is. It's like 4 or 5, okay? But he needs permission via fear to affect your reality. That's how he can't affect your reality without permission via fear. So you know how people see ghosts or demons or things manifesting around them, right? Where they saw the alien, or they saw the whatever the case may be. That is literally via permission on fear. Like if you don't fear it and give it no permission, it can't manifest in front of you. I'm telling you the truth. God said that he put a veil between this realm and that realm. And the difference between the realms are the fact that in this realm, we are finite, like, yeah, finite. That means we will die, but we can create. So he kept, like he put that veil there to stop magic. So basically, magic is outlawed in this realm. Manifestation, all that stuff, element manipulation, all that stuff is outlawed in this realm. Okay, but the adversary can manifest if he's given permission through fear, right? So being me, a person who knows about these spiritual places and things and all that kind of stuff, but I don't give, like, I've never seen anything magical except for maybe a woman, because a woman can bring forth something from a portal from the other side. You know what I mean? But no demons have manifest, no ghosts, no nothing, because I don't give it permission, right? Through full-fledged, you bet not, I'm a tell. You know what I mean? Through full-fledged, it ain't funny. You're like, okay, don't you know how God said, like in the book of Revelations, when they were marveling at the people marvel at the beast, and they marvel at the whore of Babylon. Um, like when you marvel at something, you give it permission. It's almost like planting water, like a seed planted and watering it. You get what I'm saying? So I honestly close my eyes to those things. You get what I'm saying? Like, no, and nor will I tout them. That's the important thing to know. Like, if you tout them, they grow stronger as well, right? Like demons and ghosts and goblins. Like, so don't tout them, meaning don't talk about them. They're not worth your time of day. It's like a king talking about a roach. You get what I'm saying? It's like it's a lawbreaker. You get what I'm saying? That's one of the things God said. Don't marvel at the lawbreaker, because they ain't supposed, that's like that sneaky peeky stuff. Like, ooh, I ain't supposed to show you myself, but here I am. No, I'm telling. Uh-uh. So that, I think that's why I know spirits have ever manifested around me, because no, I'm telling. They always try to come inside people, because they know you ain't gonna get no. Like, even God himself has never manifest as a bright light. You get what I'm saying? No. He's been feelings. You get what I'm saying? He talks through words and feelings, but he hasn't even broken his law of no magic. Okay. Um, so they can, but I'm letting you know only through your permission. Like, if you cast it down and say, no, we don't play those types of games, they can't do it. Right. Um, so the spirit seems to move like the movie Fallen. Okay. I don't know if you've seen that movie with Denzel Washington where this spirit jumps from person to person to person to person. So the person don't even know what they're doing, but the spirit knows, right? So that's how it seems to move. And it only seems to be able to attach to the corrupt. Like if you're corrupt, it seems to be able to move you. Like, and it looks like hurled. It doesn't even look like the person knows that they're being moved by an adversarial spirit. It looks like they're being hurled, hurled forward. Have you ever watched someone who was offended and how that offense made them hurl forward? You know what I mean? So that's how it looks like the adversary is able to move through people, but it can move like that, like the movie Fallen. Now this is where it gets tricky. The adversary comes to prove slash tempt, right? So it's literally like the Bible verse where James says, "Count it all joy," because this begat that. It's important to know that yes, they're tempting you. The adversary is tempting you, but it's to prove you as well. Like when you come out on the other side, you will be proven or you will know something about yourself. You get what I'm saying? So that's important to know. To count it all joy is so that fights off the fear of what's happened, what's come upon you. Because it's like, nah, when it's done, I'm going to be clean. You know what I mean? I'm going to be washed. I'm going to be proven. Okay. So the next one is the devil seems to be monitoring the airways, like radio broadcast, something like that. It seems like he can move through those things in some kind of way, like maybe through electricity. But I've seen which all are coincidences, right? But I've personally seen stuff shut down. My phone shut off, right? My phone doesn't work anymore while I'm in the middle of a fast, knowing that I, check it every day, and now I'm having to be on a computer. Or or another one is, that you've been trying to, hey love, hey Jamila, girl, phone been messed up ever since the last time we talked. Let me finish this, then I'll talk to you. But that you might be on to something, or trying to get your life together. Let's say you're trying to get your life together, and right when you're trying to get your life together, right on time, the adversary sends yeah right on time, the adversary sends someone to distract you or to lead you a different way. So that's what God was showing me, is about how he's literally prowling. He's looking through the airways, and he can move and manipulate the airways to see where to test you at. Okay. But here's the good news. All right. He seems to be bound by truth. That's another one. He seems to be bound by truth. I know you're like, what? The devil comes to lie to you. Well, actually, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But he comes to deceive you. You get what I'm saying? But he doesn't technically lie to you. You get what I'm saying? The only lie was the one, like a lie that you set up with inside yourself and believed. You get what I'm saying? So the adversary himself seems to be bound by truth, meaning if you tell the truth, you shame the devil and it all shuts down. Or you tell the truth, you shame the devil, and he blows up and gets far away from you as fast as possible. But you see, I'm telling you, take it from someone who has been through the fire. You can totally see that truth is like a serious sword, to where they either run or they love you. You know what I mean? And that, I have to admit, that's one of the things that keeps Job close to me, because I've noticed, like in Proverbs 9, where if you rebuke a mocker, you incur abuse, but you rebuke a wise man and he becomes wiser still. I've been seeing Job become wiser still, and I think that's cool. But with the adversary, it's like when it comes to lies. Like if you define the word lie, it's the truth until you deceive someone to be led a certain kind of way, right? So that's what it says here. Seems to be bound by truth, although he is allowed to deceive. He can lead astray, but only through a lie you believed. Like uh you benefited from, maybe maybe it's a lie you benefit from, right? But it's still a lie nonetheless, right? So but nonetheless, the number one thing for you to know, he is bound by truth. Speak God's word and truth, and you'll watch the devil flee. Okay. Uh, Now this one, I have to admit, this one's gonna blow your mind, right? Because it blew my mind. But I've actually tested it over time. Like I've noticed it over time, right? So this I've seen with my own eyes. The devil seems to be deceiving for a greater cause. I know. What did I just say? It always seems like whatever his deception is, always seems to be in line with, if you choose God, it comes out to God's greater calling. But if not, it's like you've been proven to not, like it's almost like he's trying, like, see, look, like it's like he's trying to show your iniquity to God. You give it them, so it's like, see, look, I told you this was what kind of person this is. I told you. But your truth, like saying barely, like being laid bare and saying, this is who I am, it null and voids that for him. You know what I mean? That I noticed that makes him angry, is that when you're honest, truthful, and humble about your iniquity, it seems to lay the devil, like the devil gets some type of spotlight shine on him, to where he kind of got to go, oh, don't look at me, you supposed to be looking at her or that person. You know what I mean? Because that's what I mean by, it's almost like you could tell he's bound by God. I can't explain it, because it only will go as ruthless. Whatever is going on between, you and the devil, me and the devil, whoever, a person and the devil, it will only go as far as your ruthlessness will let it. You get what I'm saying? Your own, not the devil's ruthlessness, because the devil seems to be bound by truth. Once you start teaching and healing those people with truth, then you see either the devil runs far from you, or you steal that soul from the devil. That person becomes like transformed towards God's side, because you help them heal some of those wounds. You know what I mean? That was allowing them to take part in a lie, right? All right. Uh, so the devil covets. That's his name, right? He yearns to possess. That's what the definition of covet is. He yearns to possess, to have, he desires what belongs to another. Okay? So know that that's the way he tempts. Is so once again, remember how I said those exorcists did lie. Like, how can they say that an alien can talk telepathically? Or Project Bluebeam can, but a devil can't. That's a lie. They're lying to you guys. You get what I'm saying? So it's important to know that the covet knows what you want. You get what I'm saying? Covet knows your desires, and so he will and can manifest those things, but they come at the cost of corruption. Remember that. Remember that. They always do. They come at the cost of corruption. But those that endure to the end, God, just like with Job, gives them everything they wanted and plus more, right? Because they did not succumb to corruption, right? Just like Proverbs says, like honest scales dwindle or something like that. You know what I mean? Or all ill-gotten gain dwindles. Whereas one's going to dwindle and the other one is going to be abundance, right? So if you corrupt to get, it's going to dwindle. But if you endure to get, it's going to multiply. Okay? So I'm giving you these very important truths so that you can fight the battle with the adversary yourself in a true way. You know, God showed me anything you rebuke in heaven, bind in heaven will be bound on earth. Anything you rebuke in heaven will be rebuke on earth. God been showing me that the spiritual warfare that the adversary has set up is literally why some people got the pants beat off of them in the Bible. You know what I mean? It's like they're not. Hold on, I'm still in the middle of my video, babe. What you coming to get, Dika? Okay. I don't want her to hear about gloom and doom all the time, so I try to stay away from her with my videos. Hold on one second. I'm almost done though. Shut that door. So if you where was I going with that? Let me finish that up. Covet. So the adversary does know all your all your weak points. He does know all those things, right? But what he doesn't know is the bountifulness of the integrity of your heart. Like you're only gonna let it go so far. You giving them just like Christ. Christ said, "A man cannot live on bread alone." Like when you fear God, you will back the adversary up properly. Okay. All right. So the last two, uh, he seems to be also bound by righteousness. Okay. That's where I was going with that. About the binding and rebuking. One of the things that God has been showing me is that the only way to really get rid of the adversary on someone is for that person to do it. And I know you're like, what? What? I watched them call that demon off that little girl and she manifested a demon and all that. Okay. But just like Jesus said, it'll leave, but it'll come back swept, clean and new, waiting to come back. Right. And then if a person can, it also says in the Bible that they can, rouse spirits by the spirit of Beelzebub, right? That kind of thing. So one of the things God has been showing me is that when you heal someone's heart, they basically exercise their own demons through the love you use to heal their heart. That's why I've always said, if anybody adversary come here, I'm going to take time with their heart. And that's the adversary don't want you to do that. No, they're literally putting, it's like that moment in hallelujah, praise God. It's like that moment in the movie Matrix where, Neo put his finger in Smith put his finger in Neo, but then all of them he got infected and he consumed them himself. So that's what happens when you take the time to heal someone's heart. It's also like with Martha and Mary. You remember how Martha was doing everything that was supposed to be done. She was deacon board, usher board. She done, washed the clothes, cleaned the floor. She done, did all these different things, but she neglected his heart. And Mary sat at his feet, attending to his heart. You know what I mean? And that's how you can not that's how you can heal someone's heart. But make sure that you're in line with the righteousness. Thank you, hallelujah, Father. The righteousness of God. Okay. So the adversary seems to be bound by righteousness, meaning if you're doing things upright, integral, righteously, with the righteousness of God, it seems like the adversary can't touch your life. Your actual life cannot be touched when the adversary, I mean, when you're in right living, right? When you're acting out of righteousness for God too, not your own righteousness either. You know what I mean? Like, no, you got to do right by God. Then it seems like the adversary can't make a real blow. You get what I'm saying? Hold on one second. Let me make sure I close this. Young lady, didn't I ask you to close this? You keep doing that. Hold on. Somebody needs attention, but they can't have attention when they want attention. Right now, I have to finish this. Then we can do others, which we had a ball yesterday. Yesterday, we went um, floating down a creek. It was awesome. I've never been in the backwoods of Kentucky in a random creek before. And it was very scary, but for me, anyways. But she was a fish. Like she was just enjoying it. But okay. So righteousness will keep you safe. That's the thing. So when you come toe to toe with an adversarial person, do what's right by God. It might be to do what's right by God, might mean feed them, might mean give them some clothes, right? But you don't have to save yourself. When you're in righteousness, God will save you, right? So stay in that right living, and then they can't. There, it seems to be something that it's bound there. And I'm telling you this from personal experience. This is not, um, I don't know, this is not uh, something I heard about. No, I've been held captive and, by an adversary, and saw the things that seemed to make it to where that adversary couldn't do what they wanted to do. Like I've seen it on demonically controlled people's face, where their face is literally wanting but can't. You see, they're like, oh, I'd get you if I could, but you're doing the righteousness of God. I can't do it. But the moment, like, let's say I take the bait, or the moment I take the bribe, then the whatever force field of protection God has around me seems to could dwindle, and then they could get in a blow. You get what I'm saying? So keep righteousness as your safe space, right? When in doubt, you got to do righteousness. I'm telling you, that's the most beautiful faith to have. And it really has been a supernatural type of protection that comes from it. All right, last but not least, the last one is, it seems as if the adversary can bend light. You heard what I said, bend light, right? Like, have you seen, when your keys are missing, or, you can't find the pin, or, but then all of a sudden you come back and it was right there, but it wasn't. He can bend light, right? And he does that to frustrate us. Okay. That's the only way those that are doing the righteousness of God, those that are speaking in truth, those that are telling the truth, shaming the devil, doing all those things to combat the different ways that the adversary has a way to touch you, right? The only other thing he can do that I've seen with my own eyes is bend light. And then it just makes you frustrated, right? And then and I'll tell you this, worship God and all of it goes away. Just in the faith, this is one of your number one uh, tools for backing up the adversary, is start talking back by worshiping God. I'm telling you, when I started doing that, I saw a difference. It was like, because before I thought, I knew forgiveness was salvation. I knew in order to be forgiven, you have to forgive, and that births God's grace, right? I knew that, right? But that can make you a doormat, right? It really can. If you're constantly, like he says in the Bible, forgive 1,000 times 1,000. Totally. If you're constantly forgiven, it could make you a total doormat, right? But if this is a spiritual fight, the way you fight back is in your frustration, start worshiping God. Like, I haven't said this in a long time, but let me say it. Like, don't you know how when the devil tells you you ain't good enough, we knew that, the devil knew that you was going to fail, or whatever the case may be. You literally answer back, so I still love God. I'm still running after his glory. I'm still in love with everything that he's ever done. I mean, like, look at my heart. My heart is beating. Look at my eyes. The eyelashes stop the dust from getting in my eyes. He is so thoughtful. He is so amazing. He made the sun come out today. Like, honestly, it's not raining. You get what I'm saying? So you see how when the adversary has you at your lowest, the thing to stop to, I'm gonna come look at that in a second. The I saw was a lot. But the thing to stop to do is start worshiping God in his face. Just like he said that like the devil's goal is to get you to curse God to his face. Start worshiping God to his face. And I'm telling you, you will either evangelize the person, make that person go to sleep, or get away from you. Like, they'll dull down. Like, it's almost like putting a freeze mechanism on the adversary to where they can't do what they were trying to do. You get what I'm saying? Like, and it relieves the frustration, tension. It makes the sun shine again. It helps you put down all the negativity from whatever frustration he made you lose your keys, and or you lost something, or whatever frustration he brought. Worship God in his face, and I'm telling you, it really helps. Okay. All right, so I'm about to go, but I wanted to come read what you were saying, sis. Jamila said, I got physically attacked the other night, and I had to go in the shower and pray and apologize for forgetting to pray over my food. I know it came in that way. God sent me to listen to Psalms. Attacked by spirit. I mean, my body and my temper tried to rattle. All of us are being attacked individually. This apocalypse is happening. This tribulation is happening, but it's like, how the Bible says lying signs and wonders. It's like they got us thinking about something outwardly, but don't see the parallel to our own stories right in front of us. Like, this stuff is playing out in our secret place. You know what I mean? In our one-on-ones. And we do have to know the Bible. We have to know the nature of God. Remember, I told you guys how to figure that out. Go read the red words of the Bible, and you will see the nature of God, right? Without the black words. The reason you do it without the black words is so that way you don't have any commentary. You can see the full-fledged reactions of God without the commentary. Oh, it's lagging because I'm telling that good stuff. It's lagging because I'm telling the good part, that part that so you can see God's nature, you know. So know this, knowing the nature of God really does help you come out of this with less scathed. Okay. Um, all right. So it's lagging, and I gotta go be with this little girl. She's only 7. Y'all, the other day she put a mouthful of creamer. I mean, like, the powder creamer. You know what I'm saying? She put a mouthful of powder creamer, and when I came in, it was like plaster to the top of her mouth, like to where she was talking, and it was like, because powder creamer is like powder, so it's like, I didn't do nothing, so I can't leave her alone for too long. So let me go, but I think I did what God called us to do today. I feel as if I did. uh oh no, there's a couple more things he told me to tell y'all. Almost forgot. Those were just the moves. Well, he said pain prohibits learning. Pain stops learning. Pain blocks learning, right? So he said, forgive it all and watch ye be saved. That's what he said. So, like, the pain of your past, like, people are more susceptible to believe in aliens coming right now, right? But it's because the pain has given them some type of blockage where it comes to God, maybe the pain of church. I don't know, church hurt, whatever or maybe the pain of a husband that cheated on a wife, or the pain of, because like physical pain ain't the problem, but the serious pains, you know what I mean? Hey, my love. Hey, Faithful's here, y'all. Those serious, let me get this out and then I'm gonna come say hey without losing it. But those serious pains of life situations, like losing a family member or whatever the case may be, those types of pains are the types of pains that block learning. And God said, forgive those pains and recognize that this really is a, a, a battleground or a proving of your integrity so that you can be on the next level, which is closer to God and the tree of life, right? You can't get closer to the source of life if you haven't been proven integral. You get what I'm saying? So that's what he wanted me to let y'all know, is that's what's stopping many people from getting to that next level with him, because the pain of something has made them put up a root of bitterness or a shield of offense instead of, like defense. They're doing offense, right? A shield of offense, to where it has blocked their ability to learn something new. So he said, work on that. That's important. Like, forgive the pain and you will be saved. And then he also said, for people who are considering marriage, all right, people who are considering marriage, he said, cleanse as many demons as possible before marriage, because if not, once you get married, they have to manifest. They may not be coming up against you, but they're coming up against the God you're intimate with. You get what I'm saying? So he said, clear them. Like I just gave you the strategies of the adversary, your rightful moves, how to clear them, which is through healing those pains, going back and debunking, forgiving the pains, recognizing that we really are, oh, excuse me, we really are on a track to get somewhere, you know what I mean? So that we can live pleasant as we go to get to where we're going. You get what I'm saying? So that's what God was saying, is that's the reason why you shouldn't get married uh, without proclaiming who someone's God is. That's what you're waiting for. All of you who are waiting for marriage and stuff, he said, like a lot of you are thinking that you're looking to see how he'll treat you, while he's saying flat out, I don't get down with that God that you be on. And you're saying, okay, you treat me well. Well, God said, once you do get married, those things that are on him will begin to contend with the spirit of the Lord. And that's why all kinds of turmoil come up right after people get married sometimes. It's because they're unevenly yoked by the concept of what God they serve. So there can't be marriage without God, is what I'm trying to tell you. Is God said no marriage without God, and it was like he was saying that as a way of sparing you. I want you to know that. Not in like a God, it's mine. No, like in a nah, baby, you don't want to do that, because that's his, and it really is the stomping ground of demon warfare. You know what I mean? It's related to the land. So it really is a place where you don't play, and you do need to evaluate what God someone serves or who they serve, right? Find out what rules they're playing by. You know what I mean? With those rules I told you about. So that's it for now. I have to go. I hear little chatters. I love you guys. I just love you so much, and I feel good. We did it. We did it. Another day didn't go by where we didn't do it. Um, keep me in your prayers, because I am under attack. I'm not gonna, I know this is an attack, but I'm hoping I could come out of it with Job's soul. You know what I mean? This young man's soul. I hope I can come out of it. Like if the adversary wants to come against me, my goal is to take his very soul for God's. Like I'm gonna take that man's soul and give it to God. But he seems to be really cool, and everything seems to be amazing so far. I don't see no problems. And he's like, oh, that's another thing. Praise God. About that adversary with marriage and stuff, and how you're really supposed to be finding out what God someone serves. God said, single women, He told me to tell you to read the Bible to your courter, your suitor. You know what I mean? Like, so if someone's courting you, He said, read the Bible to them. And if they ain't down with that, why are you? Why are you down with them? They've literally rejected your husband, God, as if he was Steve Urkel. You get what I'm saying? And like, come on now, don't get it twisted. Is what, like, we know he's as kind as Steve Urkel because he's kind to me, but he could manifest to something else if you really want to go there, right? So that's one of the things God has been telling me to tell all the women, that read the Bible with feeling. That's another thing. I almost forgot about that part. With feeling. Don't just read it to, like, so get you an NIV if you need an NIV, okay? That's fine. But read it with feeling. Just like how they, do a play with Game of Thrones, dost thou, and he says this with righteousness, and he said, do it with feeling, right? So that God can minister to that man's soul, right? Because, like, if you look at the Bible literally says that the head of man is God and the head of woman is man, but it also says the glory of God is man and the glory of man is woman, right? So that means that how do I put that? God wants man and man wants woman. So if woman reads man, God, there's something, I've seen it with my own eyes, y'all. Once again, on a spiritual warfare level, I've seen their eyes are glassed over trying to corrupt, but as soon as you add unto them, it's almost like, how a man be like, you making me a better man. Well, you can't make him a better man without the Bible. You just can't. So read the Bible to these men. That's what God told me to tell y'all. Read that, and don't care, like, literally. And if he don't want to let you read with feeling, we ain't gonna do it boringly. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna do it with feeling. Read to him Songs of Solomon. You know what I mean? Read to him Psalms, or something that you feel like you could read with flavor. You get what I'm saying? But if he's not willing to let you do that, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Like, you're in trouble for even tolerating this man. You get what I'm saying? Like, real talk. And I'm just saying you're at risk for adversarial things when you have that as your covering. You get what I'm saying? If that's supposed to be your head, he ain't got no head. If that's supposed to be your head, because the head of him supposed to be him. So wouldn't he be blessed by you reading about him, right? How for him to get closer to him, which is to get closer to glory, or to get closer to the apple of his eye. You know what I mean? What the man desires, which is knowledge and honor and all those things. You get what I'm saying? So that's very, very important. Okay, those are the last. I love you guys. I love you. Praise God. Great teaching. Thank you, sis. I'm so sad that I haven't been able to talk to everybody with my phone being out. And I've also found out that I don't have insurance on the phone, so it's gonna be a situation. So just give me some time and I'll be back on the phone again. But I love you all, and maybe this is what God had to do so that I'll come teach. Oh, that's another thing. Job don't got a phone either. His phone broke too. So, like, we're both in radio silence. Both of us. Right? That's crazy. That's real. That's crazy, but it's real. So keep me and him. Pray for him. Y'all, I say pray for him because y'all know I said I'm coming for his very soul. So if he ain't of God, by the time I'm done, he will be. Or he'll be proven one way or the other. You know what I mean? He'll be proven one way or the other. So praise God. And I love you guys. Hit me up on email, Jamila. Maybe, But I might be able to get it handled, so hit me up on email. I love you. All right, I love you. I gotta go for this baby, but I hit me up on email. We'll talk there. That's another thing. If anybody wants to talk to me at faithfulwisdomwarriors@gmail.com, and I'll be able to talk to you through that way. All right, I love you. It's cool. We'll talk about it, my love. We'll talk about it. I gotta go. I'll talk to you guys soon. God bless. Praise God. Oh wait, no, I'm doing this wrong. In stream. I did that wrong yesterday. Oh, well, I'm still doing it wrong. I've never done it, like, it's hard to do this on the computer.